Well, hello there. Today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. What I've been reading, what I've read, and what's in the future. So let's get into it right now. So recently I finished the book The Insatiable Volt Sisters by Rachel Eve Moulton. This is a great summer read. It takes place on an island in Lake Erie, and it has this weird history with this Volt family, and it follows the story of these two sisters, Beatrice and Henrietta, their father James, and then this woman, Carrie, who is Henrietta's mother, and she's Beatrice's stepmother, but she's been around Beatrice since she was 2, so she's kind of her mother. But the mom had followed in the footsteps of all these women who had disappeared on this island. So the island has this weird history of all these women coming there who are sad and depressed or maybe in a really bad situation, and they come to where this quarry is, and there's this pond they call the Killing Pond, and these women like jump into the pond, and there's all these really sharp rocks, and they kill themselves. But then the bodies disappear and no one knows where they go. But maybe people know where they go. The townsfolk are very close-knit, and the locals keep things to themselves. So it's, what is this weird history? Why are the Volt sisters insatiable? What is the story to this? Also, Henrietta, the house that they live in, she can hear like these ghosts that she talks to and whatnot. The other sister can't, but Henrietta can. And there's a weird connection with them and the island and what happens in this pond and all that stuff. And it was such a great summer horror. It was super fun. It would be a great beach read. So currently I am reading a book called The Fires by, I'm gonna butcher this name, Sigurdur Hagalin Björnsdóttir, and I'm sure I said that really wrong. The author is Icelandic, and it's a book about, actually here's the book, The Fires. See that name right there? Can you say that? Sigurdur Hagalin Björnsdóttir. I'm sure I'm butchering this. So this book is about these volcanic eruptions that happen on the island, and there's this woman, Anna, and she is a volcanologist, and her father before her was a very famous volcanologist. I think I'm saying that word correctly. Someone who studies volcanoes and knows about that. And they kind of like keep an eye on what's happening, so if anything catastrophic were to happen, they would know maybe where the eruption's gonna happen and this, that, and the other. And there's this whole like network underneath Iceland. And basically Iceland was formed by volcanoes. So there's a whole network of volcanoes all around and scattered in this area. Stuff is behaving really weird, and where the earth and mantle is pushing up, and they're really worried that something bad's gonna happen. And then there's like a submarine explosion, or not explosion, a submarine eruption that creates all this ash that's falling. And it's falling, and they have to close down one of the towns, and then they're still worried there's going to be future eruptions, but these political people come in and they're all worried about tourism and this, that, and the other, and like more worried about their pockets and dollars than actual sense in saving people's lives. So we can see where this is maybe going, and this is a thriller. It's also a love story, and this woman, she is married with 2 kids. One of the kids is like 20 and the other one's really young and is 8 years old. And her husband he works in either accounting or taxes or something along those lines. Something's going to happen that's going to cause a major tragedy. Also, like when she got married, her dad had just passed away. She met her husband like immediately after that. When they first met, he came home with her. They didn't sleep together, but like she just like cried the whole night. And then she wakes up and he's like doing all her dishes and doing this stuff. And he kind of took care of her through that. So, she ends up marrying him because she ends up getting pregnant. And he's like, well, let's, just see what happens. And so they've been together for like a million years. And kind of wonders like, did we get married because I was pregnant? Is that why I'm in this? And they seem to have a really good relationship, but then she meets a person and there may be some sparks there. I know I'm not like usually into like love stories, but the way this is told so far is really great. I really like the writing. I like the characters. I like how the anxiety builds like a building freaking volcano eruptions. I know this is gonna end probably terribly and sad, and that's gonna maybe be a bummer, but I'm hoping it's one of those ones is like that heartfelt, emotional, gut-wrenching. It's so sad, but but oh, at least they got to experience this fiery love or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm enjoying it so far. So that's what I'm currently reading. And this is gonna be part 2. If you've seen my Terror by the Sea video where I talk about horror by the sea, I'm working on a series that's gonna be like the elements. So the next, you know, like fire, earth, wind. So I'm working on the fire series right now. I wanna have at least 5 books, and I have 3 so far. And I need to read 2 more that have to do with fire. They have to be good if I'm gonna recommend them, otherwise it's not gonna work. So I'll just keep reading more books about fire until we find good ones. And then I went to, you know, the library and picked up some library books. So speaking of more books about fire, the next one we have is Fire Rush by Jacqueline Crooks. So let's get into it and let me tell you a little bit about what this is about. Story time with Sin. Let's go. Okay, so I don't know how to say this name, but I'm gonna try. I think it's Yamei. Yamei lives for the weekend when she goes raving with her friends. The self-proclaimed Tombstone Estate Gayals at the Crypt, an underground dog reggae club in their industrial town on the outskirts of London. Raised by her distant father after her mother's disappearance, she craves the oblivion of sound. A chance to escape in the rhythms of those smoke-filled nights, to drown out the injustices of the outside world and come into her power in the dance hall darkness. When Yamei meets Moose, a soulful carpenter who shares her Jamaican heritage, a new kind of future seems possible. A life of abundance and love, and a more permanent escape from the oppressive environment in which she was raised. But then Babylon rushes in a devastating cascade of violence that pits state power against her loved ones and her community. Yamei loses everything, including her sense of safety. Friendless and adrift, she embarks on a dramatic journey of transformation that leads her first to Bristol Underground, where her will to survive is tested in ways she never imagined, and finally to her ancestral homeland. It is there in the mist-filled hills of Jamaica's cockpit country where her search for the truth about her mother collides with her efforts to find herself and defeat the dark forces that seem to control her. And that sounds like it'll be pretty good. So yeah, Fire Rush, Jacqueline Crooks. This next book I got because Stephen King said it was good. It's the only reason I got it. I don't know anything about it. It's called Ascension by Nicholas Binge. There's a triangle on the cover and it looks kind of marbly. So let's find out about it together because I have no idea. Stephen King said it's good, so we're gonna see. Mr. King, I'm taking your word for it. An enormous snow-covered mountain has appeared in the Pacific Ocean. No one knows how to explain its existence. When Harold Tunmore, a scientist of mysterious phenomena, is contacted by a shadowy organization to help investigate, he has no idea what he and his team are getting into. The higher they ascend into the whipping cold, the less sense things make. Memories of their lives before the mountain begin to fade. Paranoia turns to violence among the crew, all while slithering ancient creatures pursue them in the snow. Oh no. Still, the mystery of the mountain compels the team to its peak, where they are certain that they'll find answers. Well, I hope so, especially if things are slithering after you. That's terrifying. Have they stumbled upon the greatest scientific discovery ever known, or the seeds of their own demise? Framed by the discovery of Harold Tunmore's unsent letters to his family and the chilling, provocative story they tell, Ascension considers the limitations of science and faith and examines both the beautiful and unsettling sides of human nature. That actually sounds pretty awesome. So I am very excited to read this, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I really do like to read books that other authors recommend. I've done that on a number of occasions. So, you know, Stephen King, he's been around the block a few times. He might know a thing or two. This is probably good. We'll see. We'll see what I think. And then the next book I got is The Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina. And this one also has a fiery cover. Fire. Let's talk about it. Also on the cover it says gripping, heartbreaking, and vital. This is a novel you won't soon forget. Paul Tremblay, and I do like Paul Tremblay, so that's nice of him to say, you know. All right, so this book is about a young native girl's hunt for answers about the women mysteriously disappearing from her tribe's reservation, and it leads her to delve into the myth and stories of her people, all while being haunted herself in this atmospheric and stunningly poignant debut. Women may vanish, legends may be forgotten, but she will always remember. Anna Horn is constantly looking over her shoulder for bullies who torment her, for the entitled visitors at the reservation's casino, and for the nameless, disembodied entity that stalks her every step. An ancient tribal myth come to life, one that's intent on devouring her whole. With strange and sinister happenings occurring around the casino, Anna starts to suspect that not all the horrors on the reservation are old. His girls begin to go missing, and the tribe scrambles to find answers. Anna struggles with her own place on the res, desperately searching for the key she sure lies in the legends of her tribe's past. When her own little sister disappears, Anna will do anything to bring Grace home. But the demons plaguing the reservation, both ancient and new, are strong. And sometimes it's the stories that never get told that are the most important. That sounds really good. And so I am excited for all of these books that I just talked about to you. A lot of fiery themes, and the book that Stephen King said was good. That I'll be the judge of that, and I'm just one opinion. So what's everyone reading this summer? What are your summertime TBRs? Like, so right now I'm reading a lot of fiery books because the next video in the Elemental series is gonna be the fire elemental ones. I was thinking about doing Earth because I have enough to do Earth, which is probably gonna be a lot of books that have like forests in it, is what I'm thinking. And the Wind's been a little bit harder. I have like a couple books that I read that had to do with wind or hurricanes and whatnot. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep everything in the horror vein or have it be like horror fantasy, because in that case, like, I have some fantasy books that do have like major wind elements in them, and like if you consider certain creatures of the wind, which could be wind or fire, dragons or whatnot, I don't know, it's all kind of jumbled around. I'm slowly working together in my brain. My brain is like got pinballs bouncing around with all these weird ideas I have. So the Elemental series will continue with the fiery video. Fire Elementals coming soon. Books with a heart to fire. If you like videos where I talk about multiple books that I have read, next video coming up will be another video about that. So stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.